America's game. Now, stop humming this here, everything done changed. That warp tool made you open your brain. Eric Vanek is here, so remember the name. Hey, he got the waiver wire for the week. Tell you who to start and who to give a seat. Dropping the podcast every week. You know the knowledge is elite. After the show, we gon' hold a Lombardi. Celebrating like we throwing a party. This the blueprint and I know they gon' copy. My intros always go the hardest, cause this is America's game.
Hey everybody, welcome into America's Game, episode number 30. I'm your host, Eric Vanek, and you can find me on Twitter at Eric Vanek NFL. And this week I am joined by Fizzle. What's going on, Fizzle?
TV, what's going on, man? Happy to be here. America's Game, man. You know?
Hell yeah. Yeah, happy to be here too, man. Happy that you're on here. Last episode of Quarterback Month today. We got Fizzle on. We're going to talk some quarterback landing spots for the draftees and free agents. And then we're going to talk about some trades that we think we can make in Dynasty as well with the quarterbacks. Kind of just look at everybody kind of uses keep trade cuts. We're going to kind of look at there and see what kind of inefficiencies that we're seeing in the values there, and maybe some pivot downs, pivot ups even that we can maybe make for you guys in some dynasty trades. So happy to be here, man. Happy to have you back on again. Going to be pretty sweet. Not too much going on in the football world now. We got, the franchise tags coming up here shortly, so that'll be coming up. Senior Bowl finished. We had Super Bowl, getting into combine season here in the next couple weeks. This is definitely where the heart of our off-season stuff starts for sure. Trying to get to learn these prospects. You have pro days coming up here in the next couple weeks, probably starting up as well. So it's a fun time right now.
Oh yeah, man, definitely. One Super Bowl and we sitting on our toes, man. We waiting on our fingers, like, what's going on? We need some more news. So, that combine coming up soon is definitely something we need, man. So, we had our break. So, come on, man. Bring the combine. Let's get it up.
Absolutely. And it always evolves around the quarterback position. So like this off season, we got, where's Justin Fields going to go? There's exactly 4 or 5 different teams for that. You got, who's going to be the first quarterback taken, the second quarterback taken, third quarterback taken. So you got all that stuff going on. Kirk Cousins, where is he going to land? So all kinds of different quarterback stuff going on right now. But first off, I want to start off here. We're going to talk about the quarterback prospects a little bit and kind of just talk about some of these mock drafts that we're seeing and where they're going. So first thing I want to start off with is the big board. So that's Dane Brugler, who I, value his opinion pretty much almost over everybody's when it comes to draft stuff. I think he is absolutely great at what he does. So kind of taking a look at his big board right now, he put out his top 100 big board the other day. So here's where he has everybody listed. So he has Caleb Williams, the number 1 overall player in the class, as expected. He has Drake May, number 4 quarterback, or number 4 overall player. Jaden Daniels, the number 8 overall player. JJ McCarthy, he has 24th overall. Bo Nix, 37th overall. Michael Penix Jr., 57th overall. Spencer Rattler, 88th overall. And Michael Pratt, 100th overall, is the last guy in his top 100. So, 8 quarterbacks in his top 100. So kind of like me and Christian talked about last week, this quarterback class is fairly deep. And we might not get we might get a couple pretty good starters, but as far as getting guys that could definitely start in this league, I think we're getting pretty close to 8 to 10 quarterbacks in this league. I think that could start some games for people at some point in their career.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm looking at a guy as low as Spencer Rattler that can give you at least of what a Josh Dobbs gave us for a couple of games this year. So those spot starts and quarterback get hurt. We need you for 5 games. Play your way into a starting position, maybe a couple years down the line. But for at least the top 5 to 6, 100%, I see some starters. Not the biggest Bo Nix fan, but if he get the right coach and right system, anything will work out. So
right.
Yeah, I like this class for sure.
Yeah, and with how many backup quarterbacks played last year? I think it was somewhere in the high 50s, might have made the 60s. Yeah, and that's been like that for 2 or 3 years now, where a lot of quarterbacks are playing. There's been a lot more quarterback injuries, and just overall shitty play. So there's going to be some quarterbacks that are thrust in the spot. So I kind of think with this class, we're getting a pretty decent influx of talent into the starting ranks and the backup ranks for quarterbacks that could actually, overall elevate the position. So I'm excited about this class too.
Yeah, definitely. Like you don't have to be a first to second rounder to become a good quarterback in this class for sure.
Right. My rule of thumb has kind of been if you're a top 50 overall pick, 1 to 50, somewhere in that range, I'm pretty interested in you as a quarterback. I'm usually not too interested in later round backup quarterbacks, like especially in my rookie drafts. Like I'm not going to be like drafting, like Sam Howell a couple years ago in round 5. Mm-hmm. I think I took him like in the 4th round of a league like once, and I thought that was fair value, was the 4th round of a rookie draft, but he was going still like 2nd round in most of these rookie drafts, and that was just too much for me. Now, if you had him and he had a good season last year for you a little bit, was in there for some games for you, then sure, it worked out, but I just overall, it's really too risky to be taking quarterbacks that are getting drafted in round 5, round 6, stuff like that. So I think
those are for the smart people that draft their leagues after the actual NFL draft, because people that draft before, man. Remember, we had Malik Willis like number 2 overall in some drafts, man. So
absolutely.
If you're not crazy, draft after the NFL draft, man. That's all I'm
saying. I know there's a few leagues out there that do draft before the NFL draft. I think I'm in one league. Excuse me. That's like that's more of a deeper Devy league that has that. So yeah, it's fun to do like 1 or 2 of those, but to have like my whole portfolio is that no
exactly.
Thanks.
Or like your favorite league, like no, I can't have
it would be if it's a fuck around league, for sure.
Exactly. It's my throwaway league. Like whatever happens, I don't care.
Right. And then if I do take some quarterbacks late in my drafts, like in round 3, 4, 5 of rookie drafts, I'm kind of looking for a certain skill set, and that's usually rushing quarterback. So like
100%.
I had those high upsides. So like the guy that I'm high on that wasn't on Dane's top 100 list is Jordan Travis. And you're being a Florida State fan, about Jordan Travis quite a bit. So now that I have you on here, and I know you're a Florida State fan, am I crazy to have him where I have him at? I think I'm gonna have him at 7th overall in the quarterbacks.
You know what's so crazy? I actually, when I listened to this list, I was waiting for his name to be called. So when you didn't say his name, the injury, it doesn't surprise me with the injury, because he most likely will probably sit out a full year. Mm-hmm. But if we talking fantasy wise, this ain't real NFL. At some point, as a backup, you are a backup for a reason in this league. At some point, so maybe you aren't made to be the accurate thrower that are hitting the receivers on the dime. Because if so, you might be starting. So what else can you bring to the team or the game that nobody else can? And with Travis, his legs, you know what I'm saying? So he can move and he can throw too. But I'm just saying, I'm just saying, he has the ability to scramble, which should put him a little higher than certain people, especially as a backup. Like we're not expecting him to be a top 32 in the league. So I could see just say a Sam Darnold, who's a nice backup, or Kenny Pickett.
I think Christian used Tyrod Taylor.
Yeah, I'm not comparing him to Sam Darnold. I'm just saying he could replace a Sam Darnold, meaning like Sam, we know what you can do. We seeing you around. He's a solid backup, but maybe we wanted a different dynamic to our game. So we just go younger. We don't got to pay him a lot. You know what I'm saying? There's something like that. So
I really liked his I'm not expecting him to run for 800,000 yards like Lamar and Justin Fields have been doing, but I think he can get you 400 to 500 rushing yards. I think that's pretty safe for Jordan Travis if he starts.
If he didn't get hurt and he got to play in that playoff game, we don't know what the outcome would have been, but his stock wouldn't be off out of the top 100 right now. That's for sure.
Absolutely. I think he's got a shot to be at least a day 2 draft pick. It wouldn't shock me if he got drafted in round 3. Somebody took a shot at him.
Yeah.
But yeah, if I'm going to be taking these quarterbacks that do go after that top 50, they're going to have at least some rushing ability. And most of these quarterbacks in this draft do have some rushing ability. There's a couple that don't, like Penix comes to mind. He doesn't have any rushing ability really. Kind of just looking through some of these guys here, like Bo Nix can definitely run a little bit. Like 2022, Bo Nix had 510 yards rushing and 14 touchdowns.
Oh yeah, Bo Nix is like a Justin Herbert a little bit when it comes to his moving ability. He ain't gonna give you 800 yards, but he can move.
Yeah. I mean, if they can get you 300 rushing yards, I'll take that. Michael Pratt. Michael Pratt's another guy that can do that. Spencer Rattler, not very much. He hasn't really shown it too much in college, but he can at least get you maybe to 100 yards.
He can extend the play. He can do that much.
So I think this year too with Jordan Travis, if you look at his stats from his college career, so in 2020 he had 559 yards, 2021 530, 2022 417, and then last year it was only 176, and then it was in 2 less games than 2022. I think Jordan kind of focus more on throwing and being in the pocket and making plays from the scheme, instead of running the ball so much, but it is there for sure.
And he had better weapons. I mean,
better weapons too.
The other years, man, he was running for his life the last 2 years. So last year, he had no reason to run. We got big Johnny Wilson, 6'6", throw the ball in the air.
Throw it up.
So he ain't had to run as much. So
absolutely.
But I could see him if Dallas went and got Trey Lance in the trade and didn't use him. I could see them replacing him with Jordan Travis. You know what I'm saying? That'd be a perfect fit to me.
Yeah, that would be a good one. I wouldn't mind that. I'm kind of thinking of like teams that already have like a little bit of a rushing quarterback to where they'd be a solid backup. Like I think Jordan Travis to like a backup to Lamar Jackson, he'd be better than Tyler Huntley and Josh Johnson and these other guys that they've had behind Lamar Jackson for a while. I wouldn't love it for Jordan Travis's chances because he ain't going to play very much unless Lamar gets hurt.
Sure.
I'd rather him go to like, some team that maybe has a rushing quarterback that might be failing, kind of like the Giants, like the Giants took him. And, Daniel Jones.
Backing up Baker Mayfield, Baker get a 3-year deal. Travis sitting there for 3 years, he could be the starter. He already in Florida, so
absolutely, that could be another one. Trevor behind Trevor Lawrence. Definitely a couple spots that he could go. But now back onto like landing spots that I want to get to. So pretty much every mock draft that we look at, number 1 overall right now is Caleb Williams to the Bears. I think that's probably 95% going to happen at this point. Sounds like Justin Fields. They're going to move on from him. But what would you think of Caleb to the Bears?
Well, doing the mocks on Mondays really helps me kind of figure out what's going on with Mike. But I would like it if they go with another receiver at one of those top picks. Like it don't have to be at 9. It could be early in the second, But if they address the opposite side of DJ Moore a little more, and at least attempt to fix the O-line a little bit more, I would like it. Now I'm gonna like it eventually, but I'm just saying like from the beginning, like year 1, seeing what they put around him, because Justin Fields, we at least knew, regardless of what's around him, he's going to figure it out with his legs. With Caleb, we more so want to see his arm. So if he doesn't have much to give the ball to, then I don't see how he can be better than Justin Fields. As far as, we talking fantasy anyway. I don't see him being better than Fields. So if they go Caleb, I want to see what they put around him to really value, what he can do.
Yeah, I'm with you. That number 9 pick for me, if they could get Rome Odunze or Malik Neighbors, whichever one falls there, that would be perfect. Even if they could move up and like with the Giants at 6 or something, and to get Neighbors, let's say, if he was there, like even that would be nice. I think Odunze could be there at 9. I would say probably like 60-40 chance he's there. So Odunze, DJ Moore, And then Cole Kmet. I think the running backs with Roschon and Khalil Herbert are fine for now.
Yeah.
The offensive line definitely improved from past seasons. It was average this year, and I think those younger guys are going to gel more. They're going to get better. I'm sure they're going to add more to it, so they're going to be good there. I think getting like maybe in round 4 or 5, if they could get like Taj Washington from USC or Brendan Rice, somebody that Caleb Williams is familiar with, that could be a good little benefit there too. So I don't hate the Caleb Williams to the Bears. I think he's still, in super flex leagues, I think he should probably be the 101. Depending on how your team is built, like I get it. If you already have 3 or 4 really good quarterbacks, then Marvin Harrison can definitely be your pick. I don't have any problem with that. But I would say in most super flex leagues, if you were a bottom end team, your quarterback play probably was dog shit. You should probably be taking Caleb Williams at 101 in your super flex drafts.
I don't know, AB, man. I like Jaden Daniels, man. I'm a Jaden Daniels guy for fantasy, man. I ain't. If he goes to New England, no. I'm not biased against New England. I'm not hating on him, but if Marvin Harrison goes to New England, he's dropping on my list. If Jaden Daniels goes to New England, he's dropping. It's just I gotta see what's going to happen in New England because we don't know. This is a new situation. Bill Belichick's gone. They could force the defensive issue and just let's just play defense and score when we can, but try to stop other teams. Like that could be their thing. Like old Pittsburgh.
New England is they're not a quarterback away from making the playoffs again. Like they need a lot more help.
Exactly. So if it's come to fantasy, if Jaden Daniels goes to the Commanders, I don't know, man. Him and Cliff, I think was going to open up that offense, regardless of the options. Caleb can do it with his skill, but I believe with Cliff, it'll be tough for me not to take Jaden number 1 in fantasy. Right. I do believe Caleb is the better quarterback overall in real life, but in fantasy, that rushing ability, man, is going to be crazy.
Yeah, and it's not like Caleb can't run either. Like I think Caleb can get us. He can run for 300, close to 400 yards, I would bet. So it's not like he's a complete zero there. Jaden Daniels probably could double that though, honestly. So I get you with that. So let's talk about Jaden Daniels since you brought him up. So I'm seeing some of these mocks have him in New England at 3, or he goes to Washington at 2. So we'll start with the New England one first that you were kind of mentioning first. And I agree with you. Like if he went to New England 3rd, I'm still interested in him. I'd still probably take him in my top 3 or 4 super flex draft picks. But it's gonna be tough, man, with a lack of weapons there. Like I just don't see him being able to get it done with like Demario Douglas, and they re-signed Kendrick Bourne, and Juju's still stuck there. Like they're gonna need to like draft like 2 to 3 weapons on offense for him, and then maybe bring back Kendrick Bourne and free agency. They literally have 0 tight ends under contract. So can they bring back Hunter Henry? I guess Gesicki's probably gone, but even Hunter Henry, that would at least give me a little more confidence. Not like he's a super elite tight end or anything, but it would at least give him another weapon. But I'm with you on that. Like they would really need to, stockpile some weapons in this draft. And I don't know if they would be the team to do that. Now, there's also a lot of talk of them even trading out of this pick because they need so many different options.
I was just about to say that's the best move for that franchise. It'll look sexy to get your Jaden Daniels, get your Marvin Harrison, but what is it really going to do for you in the long run? So just move back. You ain't even got to move back 10, 15 spots. It could be 3, 4, 5, but moving back and getting better makes a lot more sense. And they don't seem like the sexy pick team anyway. So I believe they will move back.
So let's say that they do trade back here. So I'll give you a couple scenarios. Let's say Atlanta does not get Justin Fields. Fields goes somewhere else, and Atlanta moves up from 8 to 3 to draft Jaden Daniels. How would you feel then?
Man, hey, if Jaden Daniels go to Atlanta, I'm gonna tell you something, EV. Ooh, it's gonna be crazy, man. That all of your dynasty rankings for quarterbacks, nobody gonna know where to put them because the hype is gonna be so high that you're gonna want to put them high. But in reality, you don't know what's gonna really happen, so you're gonna try to make it make sense. But man, I'm trying to. While I'm talking in my mind, I'm trying to think of where I would put him, but top 10 for sure. I'm just trying to think where at in the top 10.
I'm thinking along the lines that you were talking earlier that you might have Jaden above Caleb just because of the rushing ability.
Oh yeah,
I think that's the icing on the cake. If he went to Atlanta and he had Bijan and Kyle Pitts and Drake London, I think Jaden probably does go over Caleb in some leagues. I think there's still a few leagues there that will still take Caleb, but I think it's a lot closer than.
Oh yeah,
it's a non-zero chance. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, man. No, man, that'd be. I mean, especially with, let's just say like Justin Herbert, right? He's probably 6 or 7. I know we got our rankings, so we're gonna check later. But if not Mike McCarthy. If I'm trying to think of my coach. Harbaugh. If Harbaugh comes in with the Russian, that Russian scheme and the slow offensive scheme, and Herbert doesn't go out there and throw for 50 touchdowns and 4,000 yards, I could see Jaden Daniels moving right up ahead of him at some point, mid-season, late in the season. So if Herbert is top 7, I don't see Jaden moving out of that if that offense slows down. So
yeah, right now on Keep Trade Cut, Herbert is quarterback 6 above Joe Burrow. They do have the rookies in here, so Caleb is quarterback 8 right now. Anthony Richardson's 9, Jordan Love is 10, Kyler Murray 11, Trevor Lawrence is 12, Jaden Daniels is quarterback 14. So if he went to Atlanta, I could definitely see him moving above Lawrence, Kyler, Jordan Love. I think that's probably where we could start having the conversation. Anthony Richardson too. I still really like Anthony Richardson, but I think he could definitely be a top 10 quarterback.
Yeah, I like A Rich, but I believe, like I said, not that we're talking about Herbert, but I believe Herbert could drop and those guys could move up with their rushing ability if that offense slows down. If they're not out there throwing the ball a lot. I wouldn't put him over A Rich, but he'd be close to it though with those weapons for sure.
Right. Okay. Another couple spots that I could see. So 3 in a row right here. 11 the Vikings, 12 the Broncos, and 13 the Raiders. What would you think about any of those 3 landing spots if they moved up to number 3 with New England?
Well, a couple Mondays. It might have been this Monday. I actually had the Raiders on my mock draft, and I traded up to pick 3 with New England, and I took Jaden Daniels. So that's actually one of the landing spots I would love to see him go to. I just think with the culture that Pierce is trying to build there, he will still need weapons, but guys like Devonta Adams and the coach and them re-signing maybe Josh Jacobs, but I feel like that locker room is one good spirit, great quarterback away from winning something important over there. So with especially with Devonta Adams, I mean, if that's your number 1 receiver, you can't fail. You know what I'm saying? So if you already got the skills and he's the guy leading the locker room, he's not going to steer him wrong. So that's one of my landing spots. If it ain't Atlanta, to me, Raiders are number 2 on that list for me.
Okay. Yeah, I could see the Raiders would be a good spot. I think the Vikings would be a good spot too.
I just don't think they're going to do it. That's why I ain't.
Yeah, I mean, the Vikings are kind of, I don't want to say conservative franchise, but they kind of are as far as like making these big time moves like this. They've never kind of really been that organization to do that. But Denver and the Raiders, they'll definitely gamble and move up if they need to. So that would be an interesting spot, would be the Vikings. Broncos too. I mean, that's Broncos offense is kind of like New England's offense. They're just devoid of weapons. If they trade Judy this offseason, all they're going to really have is Sutton and
I'm reading he might be a cap casualty, so I don't know about Sutton.
So yeah, Denver would be a little interesting if he ended up there too. But a couple interesting spots there for him. So what if Jaden Daniels went to Washington at number 2? What would you think of that?
I would love it, man. Honestly, it's crazy. I felt like I'm not the whisperer or nothing, but I started talking about Cliff. I want to say like 2 months ago. I was like, man, there's no way Cliff shouldn't be in the league, at least as an OC. And like literally 3 weeks later, I started hearing his name, in the mix. And once Caleb, they claimed Caleb said he only wanted to play for Washington and the Raiders. Those like some statement somebody put out. I don't know if it was official or not, but once he said that and Cliff signed with the Raiders, I said, "Oh man, I got a feeling Caleb coming." And then next thing I know, he backed out and went to the Commanders. So I'm like, well, maybe he really want Caleb because they closer. But if they don't get him, I mean, Jaden Daniels isn't Caleb, but I believe Cliff can give him enough offense to help him look like a Caleb.
Right, right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, especially they didn't win no games, but he made Kyler Murray's stock go up a lot, you know, when he was there. So
my one thing with why am I blanking on his name? The coordinator. Yeah, Cliff.
Cliff.
Yeah. My one thing with him is it was just an uncreative offense. Like I thought like he would come in this league with Kyler and he'd be throwing the ball all over the yard. And it was just like this like horizontal offense. A lot of people called it. It was just like a lot of like just short passes to like Rondale Moore and these guys. And it was very uncreative and uninspiring offense. So since then I've kind of been off Cliff Kingsbury a little bit. So we'll see what he does, where maybe he just needs to focus on the offense and not be the head coach worrying about everything else.
But I was just about to say that I believe he just had too much on his plate.
Yeah. And he'll have, he's got some weapons to work with in Washington already. So he's going to have probably a new quarterback. He's going to have Terry McLaurin, who's a very good veteran wide receiver. Jahan Dotson, who's been up and down the first couple years. Hopefully he can get him back on track and he's not like a complete lost cause. The tight ends, there's an older guy, Logan Thomas. I think he could still give them another year or two. Brian Robinson really came on. Chris Rodriguez came on at the end of the year. So they still need a couple weapons. They need another wide receiver. Curtis Samuel's a free agent. So they need a couple, weapons there too with Washington. But at least they have a good foundation there, I think, with McLaurin, a good running back, a good, secondary receiver, Jahan Dotson. Offensive line needs a lot of help, though. That offensive line was atrocious last year. So I am a little worried about that, whether it's Jaden Daniels or Drake May, or if they trade up for Caleb, whoever. Washington has to fix that offensive line. That's got to be one of their first priorities in the offseason.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. But at least if the O-line ain't fixed right away, Jaden Daniels can move a little bit, He extend the play.
And Drake can too. Drake,
Drake for sure. I just ain't saying, but we ain't talking about him yet. But Drake, Drake can definitely move, man. I honestly not sure who they'd take it this way. If Caleb gone, I don't know what they'd do. I thought I did, but I don't know.
So we'll move into Drake May now. So, a lot of these mocks have either Drake going to 2 to Washington or 3 to New England and flipping with Jaden Daniels. So we'll start with the Washington. What would you think of Drake May and Cliff Kingsbury with Washington?
I mean, the same. I believe Jaden will be a little more dynamic, but I believe Drake could pick that up. He's not a terrible quarterback. He lost a little bit of steam towards the end of the college season. Like he wasn't spoke about as much as he was early, but I believe the way Jaden Daniels picked his game up later, Drake May just took a step back, but he can still do exactly what Jaden was doing. He wasn't far off coming into the season. He just kind of, stirred off a little bit late, but I would like either or, honestly. Me being in this city, I just know how the city operates, and Jaden Daniels to me will fit more with the team.
Yeah.
The fans. I believe if Drake May come there, it'll be another
RG3.
Sam Howell, Carson Wentz. If he don't play good, they're going to run him out of town, which I don't think they should, but I just know how a lot of these fans operate. And Jaden Daniels, I think that'll be their old Robert Griffin, like, oh, we got our guy again type situation. So I would prefer for the game, Jaden Daniels to be there. But I believe skill-wise, Drake May can do the same things.
And I think both of those guys would be good fits too, because they both can run kind of that aggressive air raid kind of offense from the shotgun, especially with Drake May and Jaden Daniels both run shotgun RPOs. Like that would fit to their skill set quite a bit. So I like the fit with Cliff Kingsbury for sure for either quarterback. Now, what about Drake May in New England? Kind of the same
again,
thing, just needs the weapons, right?
Yeah. I mean, neither one of them will be horrible quarterbacks. I don't think they're going to have bad careers. I just think when it comes to New England, they're going to drop in your fantasy list,
right?
Regardless of which play it is. I believe if you question and taking a Marvin Harrison over a quarterback, you would definitely take Marvin Harrison over any quarterback that goes to New England. To me, especially if you go to Arizona with Kyler Murray, I'm not passing up on Marvin Harrison to take New England's quarterback. So,
right, exactly. I agree with you on that. I think that's how it's going to be in a lot of our drafts.
Yeah. So honestly, I think we need to start ranking 2 quarterbacks and then Marvin Harrison, because I always see 3 quarterbacks and then Marvin, but that third team most likely is New England right now, and I'm not taking no quarterback to go to New England. So,
okay. All right, next quarterback up we're going to talk about is J.J. McCarthy from Michigan. So I like J.J. McCarthy when I watched him a little bit more. I think like probably like a Shanahan, Sean McVay kind of scheme would fit perfectly for him. So there's a couple spots that do have that. And one that hasn't come up yet. Well, I'll mention this. Dane Brugler talked about that. Just from things that he's hearing and stuff, like he wouldn't be shocked if J.J. McCarthy is like a top 12 draft pick in this draft. Yeah. And there's one team that fits what I just said pretty much to a T, and that's Atlanta at number 8. So if they don't get Justin Fields, who's the new coach there? It's Raheem Morris. The offensive coordinator is Zach Robinson, who's been under Sean McVay and learning all that kind of style. And if you get J.J. McCarthy in that offense with Bijan, Pitts, Drake London, I think J.J. McCarthy could be really, really good fit for Atlanta. That's kind of where I'm hoping he goes right now. What would you think of that?
Do you think he'll be a good fit, but do you think it'll fit his options, like the Kyle Pitts and Londons, and like would you rank them any higher if he went versus like, I'm not kind of trying to compare him to Jaden or none of them, but I'm just saying with the lack of passing he was forced to do in college, I don't know how better he'll make them versus himself. I believe he'll be good, but I don't know if he'll get them like, 11, 15 catches a game.
Yeah, I think with Michigan, that's just the way they run the offense. Like he wasn't, asked to throw the ball so much. I think in the pros, he's going to obviously have to throw the ball a little bit more. And with these weapons that he has, Atlanta's got a solid offensive line already built there too, with a lot of money invested into it. I think this could be a really good fit for McCarthy. Like, I don't see him as like Caleb Williams or a Jaden Daniels type where they can take over the game and make everybody better around them. But I think he could be like, why can't he do the stuff that Brock Purdy does? And look how we think about Brock Purdy. Like, as long as he can distribute the ball, make good plays, he can throw really well on the run. He does have good athleticism, so he can run for some yards too. Like, if he can give you what Desmond Ridder gave you, like 300 rushing yards, like I think that's definitely in the realm of possibility for McCarthy. So I think that would be a really good spot for him.
Oh yeah, like I said, I like this spot for him. I'm a little biased. I'm a Kyle Pitts fiend, man. Drake London are my guys. I want to see them get a quarterback that's going to get 400 yards a game.
Right.
Air attack type offense. I'm not saying JJ can't grow into that, but the other guys I know can do that. So I would like it for him, though. I believe it'd be a great situation for him. I'm just not sure how high I will boost up the guys around him when it comes to, like fantasy.
That's fair. So a couple of these mock drafts that I have up. So the 33rd team did a mock a couple days ago. And they have J.J. McCarthy 26 to Tampa Bay, which would be an interesting spot, which would tell me, A, they didn't re-sign Baker Mayfield, or B, they gave Baker Mayfield a short-term deal, and they're expecting McCarthy to kind of come in and be the backup for a year and then move on to McCarthy. In my opinion, I would think if McCarthy went to Tampa, it's because Baker Mayfield went and signed somewhere else, which I don't think is the case. But what would you think of McCarthy to Tampa Bay?
I actually would like that. I believe they want to play. I mean, well, not that Atlanta doesn't play defense because they have a great defense too, but I don't think they want to. I'm not gonna say air the ball out because they have the weapons to. I don't know that now I'm contradicting myself because I feel like the offense that Atlanta ran it wasn't even better than Tampa. So technically, I probably sound like I'm repeating myself, but I don't know. I think he'll fit in. I think he'll fit in Tampa though, man. I like that Tampa vibe for him though. Especially with the like Todd Bowles. We know he's not an aggressive guy. He seemed like a real mellow, chill kind of guy. You know, he calls a nice defense, but yeah, I actually would like that though. I think I like that a little better to me.
I think my one thing that I pause on is Dave Canales isn't there for Tampa Bay anymore. And he's kind of resurrected Baker Mayfield this year.
Yeah.
He did really good with Geno Smith his first year there with Seattle starting 2 years ago. So losing that would worry me about how this offense would look. So I would have to see it first. So, but I still think if McCarthy goes in the first round of the NFL draft, he's going to be a first round rookie pick in our super flex league. So,
No,
just kind of depends on where some of these other guys go to.
So if it's not Tampa or
I'm gonna go through a couple other spots. So Field Yates mock, he has JJ McCarthy 12 to Denver. What would you think about him with Sean McVay or Sean Payton?
That was the next thing I was going to bring up. Yeah.
Okay.
Now I like Denver better. And the only reason why I like it better because I feel like Sean Payton, if he's gonna move on from Russ, he's gonna make sure that this guy is the answer. There's no other option because he's going to be out of town if he isn't. So I believe Sean Payton is going to do whatever it takes to make sure JJ is ready from day one. Not that the other teams won't. They'll have better options. But as far as the coaching and the scheme, is Sean playing for his career or job at this point. So if he take JJ and get rid of Russ, he's going to have to roll him out like I'm ready day one. So I would love Denver for him to meet.
Yeah, I think working with Sean Payton would be a good spot for McCarthy because McCarthy is a pretty smart quarterback too. You know, he's I think he could run that kind of offense and have success and work with Payton. So Denver wouldn't be a bad spot for me, but it's kind of like the New England spot, like we talked about. There's just a lack of weapons there. Yeah, he's got Javonte and Jalen McLaughlin at running back, solid. Tight end, their tight end has been an absolute mess for 2 years now. Do they keep Sutton and Judy? I don't know.
I mean,
so they're going to need.
He'd be at a big disadvantage on his roster for sure.
Right. They're going to need to find some players for sure. But they've also, I think they still owe Seattle a few picks here. So they're probably missing, I think they're missing a second round pick. So that's going to be tough for Denver as well. And then the other mock draft that I have up is from one of our friends, Shane Hallam at the Draft Countdown. He has JJ McCarthy 13 to the Raiders. What would you think about JJ on the Raiders?
Yeah, man. I like I said, to me, I don't think any quarterback is bad for the Raiders in this draft class because I feel like the leadership over there, they're not the Raiders of old. Like I said a while ago, I don't see them taking the Darius Hayward Bay out of nowhere. You know what I'm saying? Like, not that Darius Hayward was a bad pick or the other receiver they just took a couple years ago. From Alabama, the one that's locked up now.
Henry Ruggs.
Henry Ruggs, yeah. I mean, those were terrible picks for that team. Right. But I believe it was because lack of leadership. You know, they was just going with what they wanted versus what they needed. So I believe right now, currently, they are putting themselves in position to try to fix all those wrongs. So taking JJ, I don't think they would let him fail. Even if it doesn't equal wins right away, I believe he's going to have the best leadership in the locker room to help him grow as a quarterback. So I would love it. Any quarterback go there, man, I love it just because of the locker room. I feel like they're going to try to take care of their guy, whoever they take.
Right. Yeah, with the Raiders, obviously you got Devontae Adams there. You got Michael Mayer. I think they're going to move on from Renfro this offseason. They have Jacoby Myers. So he's got a good start there with a tight end, 2 receivers. I think there's a chance Josh Jacobs comes back. And if not, Zamir White looked good, at the end of the season. So I liked him. Offensive line could definitely still use some work, so they could, draft there in the later rounds or second round, whatever. Maybe get him another receiver, but I think that would be a good spot for McCarthy too. I wouldn't mind the Raiders. I just think his talent kind of fits with a lot of different places. Like he could be, a lot of the league right now is this Shanahan McVay kind of scheme. So it fits into a lot of different places. But I think if I had to choose a spot in these top spots, I think Atlanta would be a really good spot for him.
Yeah, that seems like the favorite for a lot of people.
Yeah,
for sure.
If he could,
like I said, for him, I love the spot. I just don't think he's gonna boost. But they coming from Desmond Ritter, so it can't be any worse. But I'm just saying, I want to see a Jaden Daniels or somebody, even a Kirk Cousins, go there and just air the ball out in Atlanta. I would just love to see that. But outside of the air rating the ball, JB would fit right in Atlanta. I wouldn't knock it.
Right. I like that one. So looking at the other mock drafts, no one else has a quarterback going in the first round besides for Field Yates, and he has at number 20 overall to the Pittsburgh Steelers, Bo Nix. What would you think about Bo Nix to the Steelers?
I mean, why not just play Kenny Pickett? I mean,
right. I think I like Bo Nix probably better than Kenny Pickett.
Oh yeah, in the second round, but not the first round.
Right.
Taking him, that would be like repeating what you did with Kenny Pickett. You took him in the first round when you didn't have to, and why do it again? So I wouldn't like it. I would like this maybe the situation for Bo, but I wouldn't like him as a guy. I'm gonna say, let me go draft him on my team.
Right. Probably if he did go in the first round like this, I definitely would consider him in the first round of rookie superflex draft for sure. I think if they're drafting him there, they're saying they're done with Kenny Pickett. Then would be my opinion. I just think it's probably not going to happen. I don't see this pick happening for them. But if it did, I would think they'd have to trade Kenny Pickett at that point and then maybe stick with Mason Rudolph or bring in Ryan Tannehill, which they're also rumored to be hot on the Tannehill market. They're also a team in on Justin Fields, and rumor has it Tomlin likes Justin Fields. So there's definitely a couple possibilities there for Pittsburgh, though. They're going to be bringing in a quarterback for sure. We don't know who it's going to be yet, but I think if it's just Tannehill they bring in, I think it's Pickett and Tannehill in a full-fledged battle during camp and preseason to see who the quarterback's going to be.
Yeah, I mean, this is super random, but it just crossed my mind. What about if New England moved back and just took Kenny Pickett in a trade with them and just, said we're going to let Mac Jones and Kenny Pickett figure it out and try to compete next year?
I don't think that's they would have to give up to move from 20 to 3. I mean, Pittsburgh would have to give up.
No, I'm saying if they moved out of 3 and they already back later, but Pittsburgh took Bo at 20.
Oh, I got you.
They didn't ever drafted a quarterback. Is what I'm saying. So
gotcha. Yeah. I could see that. To compete with Bailey Zappi or something if they weren't able to get a quarterback, because I think Mac Jones is going to be gone. Mac Jones will end up somewhere this offseason too. But yeah, that's an interesting one. I could see maybe that, but I think Kenny Pickett I think he's just kind of proven to be the very bottom barrel of the quarters, starting quarterback wise.
I was just trying to throw him a life jacket. That was it.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. For sure.
We kind of look at some of these second round quarterbacks. The only one that has a second round up is Shane. So we'll kind of just look through here real quick. He has Penix to the Vikings at 42. What would you think about that? Yeah, you like that?
I would love that. I mean, I didn't get any good reviews at all from Penix during Senior Bowl, which is. I get it, but I've looked at him all season as well. So it's kind of hard for me to just throw everything he did during the season away just because he had a bad Senior Bowl. So
right. I kind of thought, I mean, I know it's maybe an easy comp, but like if Penix went to Miami, I think he could be pretty good there. But I don't know if Miami is looking to add a backup quarterback with one of their first 2 picks, you know.
Yeah, nah.
If honestly, he fell to like round 3 or 4, maybe. But I just think like I don't want to compare him to Tua, but in that quick kind of offense, you know, where it's quick throws, quick accurate throws, Penix would fit really well in that kind of a system.
I honestly want to see him go to Seattle, man. Just back up Geno. They already said they're gonna keep Geno. Just let him sit for a year, and he can step right in to what Geno was already doing. So I would love Seattle as my dream spot for Penix. To me, he already in Washington. Okay. Like I said, he doesn't have to start if they're gonna keep Geno. Just let him sit and learn.
Right. Okay. I could see that.
Yeah, that's my spot.
And then the other one that they have here, or Shane has here, is 52. The LA Rams select Bo Nix. I think that would be a really good spot for Bo Nix.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah, kind of the same offense. The McVay kind of offense, just like you know, McCarthy. McCarthy would fit great there too if they took him late in the first round and he sat behind Stafford. I think both of those guys would be good spots there.
My only problem with saying that they're going to do that, because I see that a lot of mocks. I think even Bucky Brooks has JJ going the first round to the Rams. And my biggest problem with that is the Rams were not supposed to win as many games as they won last year. We just count them out as like a top 6-7 pick.
Right.
So for them to make the playoffs, why draft a quarterback in the first round? Just try to build on what you just did and try to advance into the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? So I don't see them taking the quarterback. Wouldn't make sense.
I agree.
Because, you know,
this is their first year that they've had a first round pick since they took Jared Goff.
Exactly.
So
you got they don't.
So they need like a corner.
Exactly.
You know, defensive lineman, O-line, something like that. Yeah. So I agree with you like that. Like go all in with Stafford right now to go win another Super Bowl. Like they have offense that's already in place. They need to upgrade the defense a little bit more. So I agree with you on that.
Stafford to mess around and win 2 MVPs like Aaron Rodgers. You go out there and draft Jordan Love, you know, like they did with Jordan Love. So just do something else. Leave JJ alone, Rams.
All right. All right. So that's kind of it for the landing spots there for the rookies. Let's move on to the free agents that are in this draft. Well, not draft class, but NFL free agent class. So first one up, Kirk Cousins. Where would you like to see Kirk go?
Minnesota.
Yeah, that's where I'm at.
Like just I'm now if I had to pick another team just to not be, you know,
just to be different.
I would say Atlanta 100%.
Yeah, I think I'm right in step with you. Atlanta would be my second choice. Go back to Minnesota would be my first choice for Cousins, even if it's just another 1-year deal and just see what happens. But it sounds like Minnesota, everybody wants him back. Like the whole team likes him. Justin Jefferson loves him. He's just a really good fit there for that offense. Like he knows how to run it. I think they need to obviously focus on their defense. So maybe if they can get Kirk back, they don't have to worry about quarterback at 12. They can maybe get the best defensive player in the draft or the best corner in the draft because of how many offensive players are up top. Then they could really focus on their offensive line and getting that defense better because, you know, they started off rocky on defense, but towards the end of the season, Brian Flores had that defense playing really well. And other than Danielle Hunter, I couldn't really tell you too many other players on that defense that were any good. Like I know Ivan Pace Jr., who was undrafted, was one of their stars. And that's an undrafted guy coming in as a rookie and being one of the stars on that defense. So he had a lot of no-name guys on that defense that was playing really well. So if they can get Brian Flores some talent on the defensive side of the ball, Cousins on the offense can stabilize to where they're already at, that could be a really good spot to keep them. And then Atlanta, kind of like we talked about, you got all those weapons. He would be a good fit there. And it's pretty much kind of the same type of offense because, you know, O'Connell runs the McVay offense and Zach Robinson and Raheem Morris are probably going to run the same type of offense. So Cousins would fit in there perfectly too.
Oh yeah. I mean, similar weapons, you know, you got Kyle Pitts, TJ Hawkinson, you know, not exact skills, but the same. Drake London isn't Justin Jefferson by no means, but he's a great receiver. So
great receiver. Yep. There's no Bijan on Minnesota, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but you got a rotation of guys over there that can kind of be similar to what Bijan can do. So, it's not that far off that you like, man, he in a whole different place. It doesn't look right. Like, it just sounds right for him to go to Minnesota, Atlanta.
And I don't rule out Atlanta maybe getting some receivers too. Like, say if they do have Cousins, and I don't rule out Atlanta at 8 taking Neighbors or Odunze at 8 if they sign Kirk Cousins, and you get Drake London and Odunze and Bijan and Kyle Pitts. Holy shit.
They could go out there and sign a Hunter Renfrow, man. Had him running across the middle, and I mean, I like that.
I think he could. I mean, he's not as big as Adam Thielen, but he could kind of do the same stuff Thielen did with the Vikings. So
I like Thielen. I mean, Renfrow with the right quarterback.
I agree. Yeah, he got injured there and he fell off big time. And then for whatever reason, McDaniels didn't want to use a white slot receiver, which makes no sense to me. But
I think it was a lot of the quarterback play too, though. I believe if he had a guy that can sling, if Derek Carr, as much as I don't like Derek Carr, if Derek Carr was there, Renfrow would have got the ball.
Yeah, I think so. But I mean, even with he went out and signed Jacoby Myers, who he knew from New England. So who knows what all happened there. Another quarterback, the other probably big quarterback that is available is Baker Mayfield. I think all signs kind of point to him in Tampa Bay reuniting there. So I think that's probably the best spot for Baker Mayfield. If he were to go somewhere else, where do you think Baker could fit?
Well, I don't want to say Atlanta, but I guess if it came down to it and they didn't get their guy and Kirk is gone, I wouldn't mind Atlanta. At least I know, what he just did with Mike Evans, and Baker can air it out, and I feel like with a solid defense in Atlanta, they wouldn't force him to have to put up 45 points a game. So, I mean, right now, honestly, anybody going to Atlanta is not a bad thing. But so that's kind of like the cop out answer. But I wouldn't mind seeing them get another run. As much as I love Bryce, and I don't want to skip Bryce, but if Carolina was available, go follow his coach. It's not. So, I would say right now Atlanta. I'm gonna think of somebody else, but right now Atlanta's probably my number 2 for him.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at kind of the same teams that we've talked about: Pittsburgh, Minnesota, Raiders,
I wouldn't want to see him in
Denver,
Oakland and nothing like that. I just think
right. Denver could be interesting, but it just kind of doesn't have the offensive weapons there.
Exactly. Yeah. So I want Baker needs that. He needs that. He needs a winning team or somebody that's ready to win.
Yeah, like he's not one of those, kind of like I talked about Bo Nix and McCarthy earlier. They're not one of those guys that's going to elevate all the people around him. The people around him need to elevate him, and he can distribute it and be fine, kind of like he was this year. So I agree with you on that. Next one up I'm going to bring up is Ryan Tannehill. So we kind of talked about him a little bit with Pittsburgh. Obviously with Arthur Smith going there to be the offensive coordinator, that makes a lot of sense. Tannehill had his best years with Tennessee under Arthur Smith. There was talks of Tannehill going to be the favorite for the Atlanta job but until Arthur Smith got fired. So I think if Tannehill went to Pittsburgh, it's definitely going to be a everyday battle between him and Pickett to be the starter. I don't think Kenny Pickett would be the starter unquestioned. He's going to have to earn the job from Tannehill. So I think that's kind of, it's going to be like a every week kind of thing. So if Tannehill did get the starting job for Pittsburgh, I don't think I would mind that. I think, he would still lead Pittsburgh to probably this 9-8, 10-7 bullshit that they do every year. They still, stay in there, but he is getting a little older. He is 35, so it's not like he's a spring chicken anymore either. But being there with Pickens and Deontay Johnson, Freiermuth, Najee, Jalen Warren, those guys, I don't think that would be a bad spot for Tannehill. I think I'd kind of like it. And I think he could be a sneaky buy right now before free agency starts, and you kind of see where these guys land. If you can get Tannehill as a throw-in in some of your super flex trades right now, I think that'd be a good one.
Oh yeah, and honestly, this thing hasn't been talked about, and I'm literally while you talking thinking of teams, and why not keep him in division? Why not the Jacksonville Jaguars just put him behind Trevor
Lawrence?
He can help him grow as a quarterback, and show him the ropes a little. Because Trevor, he's not a bad quarterback. I just think he got to work on his turnovers. He need to grow up a little bit. That's it. So I would look at my quarterback situation and say, I need a guy to help my already young guy who's growing. And I don't mind him in Jacksonville. I would love that, actually.
Okay, that'd be a good one. Yeah, I mean, I could see him, like, even if the thing with Pittsburgh doesn't work out, like, I think Tannehill would be a valuable backup to almost every team in the league that already doesn't have a good backup. Because
he could do what Joe Flacco did with Cleveland. Now Flacco kind of surprised everybody with what he did, but man, Tannehill isn't a horrible quarterback. No, not at all. You give him weapons, he can make something happen. So
yeah, like even if like Washington signed him as their backup and got rid of Sam Howell, or even if they brought him in New England, like he could even start the first month or so, kind of like how the Panthers maybe looked at it with Andy Dalton a little bit to start with Bryce Young there for a little bit, but Tannehill, I think he could kind of do the same thing, maybe come in for the first month. Tyrod did that for Baker Mayfield when he was with Cleveland. So I think Tannehill could be a very useful backup for a lot of teams in the league right now. So he's going to be in demand. Yeah, the Giants, that'd be a good one. Yeah. There's a lot of different spots. He can come in and be, a potential starter there, or he could come in and mentor a young kid, kind of like he did with Will Levis a little bit this year.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, so I think those would be good spots. And then the last one, obviously, is the big one, which would be available via trade, and that's Justin Fields. So Fields has kind of been linked to Atlanta a lot. He's not going to go to Minnesota. He's not going to go to the same division, so I think that one's out. Pittsburgh is another one he's been linked to. Vegas has been another one he's linked to. You got to think about Russell Wilson too. Russell Wilson's probably going to go to one of these places. Vegas has been a rumored spot for him. Pittsburgh. Yep. Where do you think the best spot for Justin Fields would be for you?
Well, the number one spot is Atlanta, hands down.
Yeah, I think that's for everybody.
Yeah, and it's not even just for the weapons. That has everything to do with it, but also I feel like he has the best chance to be there long term. Like if he goes to somewhere like Denver, they can boo him out in 1 year and he'd be somewhere else.
Right.
I think in Atlanta, he's from Atlanta or Georgia, some part in Georgia. I just think him being in his home soil, the fans and the crowd would want, even if he doesn't win them a playoff game year one, they give him more chances. See, I think a lot of teams they let coaches and GMs draft who they want versus pleasing the fans, because that's who really control the game. If the fans booing your player, he frustrated, he leave. You got to draft the people that the people want, and I believe Fields going home, man.
Yeah, that'd be a really good spot for him.
It would.
I think Pittsburgh would be a good spot for him too.
I would love that too.
To be with Tomlin, to be with a veteran team that can kind of settle him down a little bit, make him more mature, all that kind of stuff that, happens with Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh always finds these gems and they become superstars somehow, it seems like. So I think that would be a really good fit for Fields. Vegas would be interesting. I don't know how much he would improve in Vegas. Like,
I would rather them get a rookie. Yeah, I feel like a rookie he's not going to grow up. He's not going to show up day one great. But if Fields come there, they're going to want him to be day one. You better win, or
right.
A lot of news going out about Fields isn't worth it. He ain't ready.
Right.
That pressure in Oakland, Vegas might be a little different.
Yeah, I think so too. Denver could be a possibility as well. I mean, Sean Payton's really never had a mobile quarterback like that, so I'm not sure how that would fit with his system too much. Obviously, he had Taysom Hill, but that I don't really consider that like too much of a quarterback. But he's had Drew Brees, obviously, Jameis Winston there for a couple years. So I don't know how Fields would fit there, but it'd be intriguing at least. Trying to think of maybe some other spots.
But I say this though, if I feel like, I already talked about Atlanta, for him as a player, who's going to compete with him in that division? You know what I'm saying? So if he goes to Atlanta, it can boost his morale because he might win the division year one. Right. Versus him going to Pittsburgh or Denver, and now they finished bottom 4 in their division, and it's like, well, Fields didn't get us past, the Chiefs or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, we know that ain't gonna happen anyway. So if he goes to a division that he can win from day one, that will just be a perfect scenario to me for him.
Okay. Another possibility I've thought of too is if New England stayed at 3 and drafted Marvin Harrison Jr. and then maybe move their second and a later pick for Fields. What would you think about Marvin Harrison and Fields together in New England?
It's funny because I've seen that scenario a lot for the Commanders too. If they
Commanders could be the same way. Yep.
Yeah, I see that exact scenario. I wouldn't mind it. I just feel like he wouldn't. See, my biggest thing is the offense. I don't know what offense they're gonna run in New England. That's what I really want to see. To see what they're going to do. I believe it'll hide some of his faults. Like, the defense to me in New England is what's going to control the game. So I don't think he'll have to air it out. But with a guy like Marvin Harrison, I mean, you got to throw the ball. You know what I'm saying? So I wouldn't mind it if he had Marvin Harrison there. But if they just trade for him and Marvin Harrison they did, man, I don't know. I'm going to have to get rid of my field shares, man. That's my boy. But, no Marvin Harrison in New England. Nah, so I wouldn't mind that though. If that scenario happened, if it's both of those guys together, I wouldn't mind it. That'd be okay.
Right. I think the Washington one could be interesting too. If they just took Marvin at 2 and had McLaurin, Marvin Harrison Jr., Jahan Dotson, and got Fields, that would be pretty interesting.
I never hear the end of that, man. I don't want to hear that.
I think it'd be interesting though. For sure.
Would. Oh no, trust me, man. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. I might be parked outside the Commander Stadium on Sunday just to see.
Trying to get the season tickets, yeah.
For sure.
Have you been to that stadium? Isn't it a complete fucking dump?
Bro, listen, I've been going. You know what's so funny? I went a couple times, especially in December, because in December all their tickets on sale. They lose all their tickets,
yeah, for $10.
But I think I took my father one year. It was T.O. T.O. was still playing for Dallas, and it was Joe Gibbs. Matter of fact, Joe Gibbs' last home game. I still got a ticket stub in my room. And it was snowing, like a sleet snow rain. It was so bad. And I think Dallas blew them out. And I was like, man, why am I here? I don't even want to be here. No, my fault. No, Dallas didn't blow them out. They didn't need that game. It was like, the playoff they already had.
Yeah, they already clinched, right?
And man, that stadium, and that was, 10 some years ago. So
I think Gibbs left in like 06 or something.
Bro, since then they haven't touched it. I don't even think they put paint on it. So
I always hear people say that's one of the worst stadiums in the league now. So
they got sewer problems, water leaking out the toilet. It's crazy, man.
They definitely need a new stadium there.
They do.
All right. So that's a lot of the landing spots that we went over there. The next one up that I kind of want to talk about is kind of looking here at Keep Trade Cut at some of these trade values right now that me and you kind of see that maybe we see an inefficiency, someone's too high or someone's too low, that we think we can make some trades for. So was there anyone that kind of stood out to you in that case?
You talking about as far as rank too high or as far as trading for?
Either they're ranked too high and you think you can sell on them to like pivot down and get a lot, or maybe somebody that's ranked too low that you think you could tear down to.
I don't know, man. Me personally, I know it's kind of iffy and it's not really a end all be all, but I'm not putting Justin Herbert over Joe Burrow, and they are right behind each other back and forth. But
right,
I just don't see how Joe Burrow is. I mean, Justin Herbert is as high. Right now, I might even take Anthony Richardson over Justin Herbert, man. I'm just not the biggest Justin Herbert fan, to me.
Yeah,
And
I think right
if someone would
behind.
give me a Rich and a plus for Justin Herbert, please take it. Please.
Yeah, I think that's a great one that you can do. Pivot from Herbert down to Anthony Richardson. You might be able to get like a second round pick on top of it.
Yeah.
I think that's a good one. I think these three guys right behind Herbert, Burrow, Caleb, and Richardson, I'd probably rather have over Herbert. And I wouldn't be shocked by the end of the season if I'd rather have Jordan Love over Justin Herbert.
Yeah, me. That's what I said. I believe Jaden Daniels is he's further than Trevor Lawrence and all of them, but I believe he can get in front of Herbert if he gets in the right situation and that Chargers offense slows down. It's nothing against Herbert, but
it's just the style of offense they're coming
through. Yeah. And that year
it's going to be a run heavy offense. Greg Roman is usually 60-40 run. So I think pivoting down from Herbert to any of these guys would be good. If you can get from Herbert to Jordan Love and get a plus, I think that would be great. Anthony Richardson, either of those. So that's a good call. Yeah. One that I think is still too low, I don't know, call me biased or whatever, but Deshaun Watson at quarterback 21 is still. I
can't even find him. I'm still trying to look for him.
Yeah, he's below Bryce Young, Jared Goff, Fields, and these guys. Obviously they have the rookies in here. So Caleb, Drake May, Jaden Daniels are all above these guys. I would take Deshaun Watson still over Bryce Young, Goff, Fields. I'd probably put him in this Dak Tua range. So if I can get rid of Fields and move down to Watson, I would do that, and I could probably get a first round pick on top of it. Everybody hates Watson just because of all of his off-field stuff. I get it. It's controversial and all that. And Watson didn't play that great this year. I still think he's a really damn good quarterback. I think this year they're going to get it all together, hopefully. God, I'm praying. And they can get it all together here. Even moving down from Purdy to Watson, I think isn't that bad. Because I think Watson can give you the same stats, if not better than Purdy. And you could probably get a pretty decent plus on top of Purdy or on top of Watson. Yeah, so I think that would be another one I would look at.
Yeah, now me, I'm living on the potential of Justin Fields landing somewhere great. So I probably wouldn't move from the Fields move, but the Bryce Young over Watson, there's no way I could do that. That looks crazy to me. Even Jared Goff. I mean, Jared Goff is in a great situation, but as far as points and averaging of what he does, I mean, Gibbs can go out there and score 3 touchdowns, and Jared Goff will have none in one game. Those are
right. And just Watson's rushing ability alone gets him over Goff for me.
That's what I'm saying. Goff could go out there and have a 280-yard passing game with 0 touchdowns. That's possible. So
and Tua started off great, but if you look at his ending stats, they weren't that great. I mean, you could probably tear down from Tua to Watson and get a first round pick on top of Watson.
Yeah. Now, when I say Fields, I do believe in a great situation, but with a Fields and a +1, give me Watson there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if you'd be able to get a 1 on top of it, but there's a lot of people that hate Watson for whatever. You might be able to pull it off.
They do. There's a chance if Justin Fields can go on the block right now, and I believe you can get a plus something with that with Watson, just because, like you said, the guy has a guaranteed contract and they still don't want him. So I'm not gonna lie, I got him in 2 leagues. I kind of don't want him. I'm not gonna lie to you. So I'm not giving him away for free though. That's for sure.
Right.
But I believe if he goes out there and has one of those, Amari Cooper 2 touchdown, 160-yard games. It's right to the moon, right back for D Watt. So
okay. Another one that I want to bring up is, let's assume Caleb 101, Marvin Harrison 102, or either vice versa. So you have the 103 draft pick. Do you wait to see where Jaden Daniels and Drake May go first, or do you think you'd be willing to maybe shop your 103 right now and see if you can get one of these guys that are listed above May and Daniel? So do you think you can trade the 103 for Trevor Lawrence or Kyler Murray or Jordan Love, Anthony Richardson? Do you think you could trade one of those 103s to get one of those guys straight up right now?
For a Rich, yes. I don't think I could do it for the other guys though.
Okay.
Now, if Kyler Murray got Marvin Harrison, it might change my mind a little bit more. But like I know we taking Marvin Harrison at 2, but what team did he go to? We didn't say what team though.
Well, I'm talking 101 and 102 as far as super flex draft. So let's assume Caleb goes 1 to the Bears, Marvin goes 4 to the Cardinals.
Okay, yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Once I found the team that Marvin goes to, then it might make me change my mind with the Murray, but
yeah, but you might have to make this kind of a trade pre-draft. So that's kind of why I'm thinking,
okay.
Can you trade this 103, which is most likely going to be May or Daniels, whichever one? Do you think you could trade that 103 right now and the thought of May or Daniels to get maybe one of these quarterbacks that are listed above them?
Yeah, like I said, maybe Murray and A-Rich. I wouldn't do it for Trevor, me personally, right now. I feel like his decline from last year to this year is definitely not unnoticeable. And I don't even think you would have to give it the 103 for Trevor Lawrence right now. So if you did that,
I agree.
Yeah, I think you gave up way too much anyway. So
yeah, I think offering the 103 for Richardson or Jordan Love is very interesting.
I don't know if people will do it with Jordan Love right now. I believe at some point he could, but I don't know, man. I know the love for Love is real, but you know, sometimes people still don't believe what they see. You know what I'm saying? Like
right.
You got to catch the right person that'll do that to me.
Right. Yeah. I think personally, if I had the 103 and I was kind of thinking that, hey, Caleb and Marvin are going to be the first 2 picks in my draft, I think I would go to the Jordan Love owner and just offer 103. And if they have to have like my 303 back to do it, like, here you go, have it. Like, so that's kind of one that I would look at to do. Anthony Richardson too, because I think Anthony Richardson's rushing touchdown upside is so great. I would take the risk on that. So definitely. Richardson and Jordan Love, if you don't feel comfortable with May or Daniels, I think Richardson and Love would be 2 guys that you could maybe pivot your 103 pick to right now. And before like all the, Anthony Richardson looks like a Greek god out here, you know, in preseason, off season, before all that hype comes. So I think that could be a really good one to try too. Any others that you see?
I mean, I sound a little biased, but I believe Dak could be a little higher. I mean, I'm not going to keep beating the drum, but I will put Dak over Trevor Lawrence right now, man.
I agree. That's where I have him. Yep.
If Dak signs this extension, and I don't see them not putting more weapons around him this year, so
it's not like Dak's old. He's only 30 and a half.
So. Exactly. And at one point, we had guys like Matt Stafford higher than 27-year-olds, 26-year-olds.
Right.
So, yeah, man.
I mean, Dak is the oldest one in this top 20.
Exactly, and
which is crazy to think about.
With the year he had, clearly they wasn't running the ball. He went out there and had an MVP like season. So, I honestly traded the 103 for Dak in mid-season. I had the 103. I traded away for Dak to win my championship, and I won it. But that was just something, I probably wouldn't do it right now. I will wait it out, but. I traded the 103 for Dak and with no issues, no worries.
Yeah, and he was, led the league in passing touchdowns, so I definitely get it. I would take Dak over Lawrence, like you said. I'd take him over Purdy probably right now.
Yep.
With May and Daniels, that's probably a good question to decide on between Dak and one of those guys, but I agree with you. Dak should probably be about 2 spots higher for me.
Yeah, now I'll say this. I know we always go back to New England, but if New England took one of those quarterbacks, I probably would question whether I should take them over Dak as well too right now. So
okay. So is there anybody down on the list further that you could see you would like to have or you think could move up the list quite a bit?
Well, JJ McCarthy to Atlanta, man, he gonna shoot.
Oh yeah, he would shoot up.
Yeah, I would love that. Because right now, he's in front of Will Levis. I mean, even Kirk Cousins, if he sneak his way into a 3-year deal with Atlanta or Minnesota, he can move up a little bit. I think it's going to be a 1-year deal personally, but.
Yeah, I think a lot of people kind of look at Dynasty now as kind of like in a 1 and 2 year window anyways.
Yeah, that's why I said Kirk. I wouldn't even have said it if it wasn't for that window.
I go even a little bit lower to quarterback 31 and, call me biased, but I think Aaron Rodgers, man. If he's valued this low, we kind of had this talk in the Savage chat the other day. Like, what second round pick would you go up for Aaron Rodgers? I'd give up any second round pick right now for Aaron Rodgers. I'll give you the 201 for Aaron Rodgers right now. And if I know that he can give me, starting season, it wouldn't shock me if Aaron Rodgers won the damn MVP again this year. That would not out of the realm of possibility.
But that offense he got, I'm sure they're gonna get another receiver to throw in there somewhere.
Right. Like if they trade for Devontae Adams, like there's been that rumor for a while, or they could draft one. Like if they draft Brock Bowers at 10 or a Dunze, they need an offensive line help in the worst way though. So they should focus on that first.
For sure.
But if they happen to get Rodgers another weapon, they're able to really upgrade this offensive line quite a bit. Like, I think Aaron Rodgers at quarterback 31, I'll take him over Geno Smith, Daniel Jones, Stafford. You can question that one because Stafford has some weapons. I'd take him over Bo Nix, Penix Jr., Will Levis.
Yeah, I think the problem that we forget, man, is that just because they're older doesn't mean they're not valuable. And I think a lot of times
you see all the older guys are down here. Geno, Rodgers, Wilson, Carr.
And like you said, giving up a second round pick for a guy that can win you a championship right now. Like I said, I gave up the 103 for Dak with no issue. Now, granted, I'm a Dallas fan. I get it. But with the stats he was putting up, it was no way. I won a championship after doing it. So it wasn't like, I did it and, whatever. So getting Rodgers with a second round pick, man, is not bad at all.
Right. And look at Penix here at quarterback 25, right? He's above Cousins, Bo Nix, Stafford, Daniel Jones, Geno Smith, Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, Derek Carr. I would take all of these guys above Michael Penix. I would. I'm with you. Like Derek Carr for Michael Penix. I'll take Derek Carr because I know Carr's going to start for at least another year and have probably a pretty semi-decent year. He's going to give you a quarterback 2 numbers, back-end quarterback 2 numbers like he always does. I'll take a chance on Russell Wilson over Michael Penix Jr., Aaron Rodgers, Geno Smith. I'll take all those guys. So I think Penix and Bo Nix are probably a little too high on here. So, yeah, like I said, give me, even Russell Wilson, Derek Carr, Geno Smith, Daniel Jones. I'd almost give up any second round pick for any of those guys right now.
Well, the disrespect on Russell Wilson is crazy, man, because he had a solid
he had a solid year. Yeah,
he did.
Yeah, so that's another one. But Aaron Rodgers for me, that's kind of a guy if you need a quarterback, I get it. Barry Dynasty Barry was arguing in the chat that you don't need to buy that quarterback 3 right now. I get it, but if I can buy him for this cheap, I think I'm going to do it because it comes to the season and we see here in March, late March, Devontae Adams got traded to the Jets. Aaron Rodgers is shooting up this list.
Oh yeah, look, that second round pick will be a first, no questions there.
Right, exactly. And I don't know about you, but for me in most of my leagues, it seems like any quarterback available, it's I gotta get a first. I don't see too many leagues where I can get a quarterback for a second unless it's a very borderline quarterback like Aiden O'Connell, Kenny Pickett, one of these guys. So if somebody's offering me a second, any second round pick for Aaron Rodgers right now, I'm going to take Aaron Rodgers or one of these other guys that we talked about. So
I'm with you. I'm with you on that one.
Hell yeah. All right. Real quick before we get into America's favorite game, just want to kind of mention a couple things to you guys. We got the warp tool going on still. It's for Sleeper and MFL. Get your warp values for any of your leagues. You could see what positions you should be valuing in your leagues, what are the highest scoring positions in your league, where you should be focusing your flex spots on, pretty much like any 1.5 tight end premium league outside the top 5 or 6 tight ends. It's probably wide receiver is king in your league. So you kind of want to focus your league and your roster construction on getting elite wide receivers. So that'll help you do that. That is at $6.90 per month for the warp tool or $69 for the full season. There's Dynasty Mind Warp, the video series with Adam and Scott Connor. They go over everything about warp, teaching you about the tool, how to use it, what to value, what to look for. So you can get that. The audio only version is $25 for that series. It's 25 hours of content. $69 for the video version only, or $125 get you the Mind series the Warp Series videos and the Warp tool for the whole year for $125, a great value. We also have the lab, which has been really, really helpful. It's a league manager tool, basically. You can see all your shares for sleeper leagues only, see all your player shares, see where you rank in your league compared to your other players based off of your players, your draft picks, whatever. It'll give you a ranking to where you sit in your league, and you can kind of see who's weak and who's not in your league. Maybe you see the 12th guy in players, and oh man, this guy's got shitty players. I'm going to target this guy's draft picks. Yeah. It's going to help you on certain leagues and see where your competition is in your leagues. Obviously, we have the Patreon, the Discord channel, where you get access to the whole South Harmon community, interact with everyone in the trade channels. You can post your trades for the trade show, mock draft Mondays that Mike's been doing. Fizzle's been on there. A lot of you guys have been participating in that. That's been really cool. The $8 tier will get you the shit rankings, which is myself, Dynasty Barry, Christian, Koopa, Adam, and Mike are all on there. We all have our own rankings. And then obviously a consensus tier rankings as well. We got Devi rankings on there. We have rookie rankings that we're all working on, especially me. I'm still working on here. But it's from as cheap as $1 for the supporter tier, all the way up to the $25 Savage tier, which is pretty much our hangout channel for all of the South Harmon members. A lot of great discussion in there. Barry's been posting some really good stuff in there. Christian's been posting some great stuff. It's just a really good, tight-knit community. So if you're interested in joining that, you can join that. And then last is the Dynasty team review. So dynastyteamreviews.com, or just go to the South Harmon website. It's on there as well. We're opening it up to Dynasty team reviews, basically. So now's your chance to do it. I've done quite a few. Koopa's done some. Adam and Mike have done some. It's any of us four. You get usually about 30 to 40 minute video review, sometimes longer, about your team, about your league, about the warp. And we'll help you with team specific needs that you might have, recommend some trades, tell you how to construct your roster, help you answer any questions that you might have. You can join us as well. Everybody's got a different price point as well. So make sure you go on the website, dynastyteamreview.com or southharmonff.com. You can go on there and sign up today for a team review, see the price points that everybody offers. If you want to join us live on there as well, we can set that up, and you can join us and ask us your own questions as we're going over your team and help you with any needs that you have. So make sure you guys check that out. All right. America's favorite game. Fizzle, you ready?
Oh yeah, I'm ready, bro. And also for the lab, that's free.
Yeah, that's free. Yep. That's all on the website. Yep. It's a great tool. Yeah, for sure. I use it for all my Dynasty team reviews that I do for everybody. Really simple, easy tool to use. So I like it a lot.
For sure.
All right, Fizzle. We got to do a quarterback question here. So I'm just going to ask you, I've already answered it a couple episodes ago, but who's your favorite quarterback of all time?
Oh, man, of all time.
You could do all time one and then a current one, whatever you want to do.
I mean, I got a lot of favorites, man, of all times. Of course,
right. I'm the same way.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to pick one. The Mike Vicks of the game, all those type of guys. But
right.
I say the one I defend the most.
Okay.
And the one I defend the most. I got too many of those too, man. Because one thing about me, right? When I rock with you, I rock with you. I'm not saying I'm gonna be blind to the fact of you not a good player, but like Jameis Winston, that's my guy, man. I don't care what nobody say. Famous Jameis should be the starting 32 right now. But my number one guy who I defend, I'm always defend, Tony Romo, man. Number 9, Romo is the GOAT, man. I don't care what nobody say. He's not the GOAT of the NFL. I'm not crazy, but
he was a very good regular season quarterback. I'll give him that.
And I'll say this, he went beyond expectations. Nobody thought he was even supposed
undrafted.
To be
absolutely
playing the game. So when he did what he did and literally changed the game at one point where every move he made was a highlight reel.
Yeah.
I just felt like we never gave him everything he needed. Like that team that Dak got his rookie year with the O-line, the running game, the receivers, and Dak went 13-3 and Romo got hurt. That was Romo's team, man. I think we would have beat Green Bay that year, man. So
yeah.
Then we got Dez dropped the ball, he caught the ball. They said it, and they robbed my boy a couple times, man.
All right.
Number one defending quarterback that I love and I'm always ride for is Tony Romo, man. So
okay.
They told me I was crazy for 11 days. That's my guy. Now Romo, it ain't always gotta be a Cowboy, but I feel like, hey, if you put Romo on them teams with Troy Aikman, man, he might have, he would have did them things, man. I'm telling you, that's my boy right there.
And of the modern day quarterbacks, I would say from the 2000s on, he was the first one to have the celebrity girlfriend that everybody would show on TV. He'd always have Jessica Simpson was there. Yeah, he was.
That's my boy.
He's a good looking guy. He could get pretty much any woman he wanted. He was the quarterback of Dallas. So
and now he's killing it as an analyst, on the sideline. So
yeah, he's not bad.
Don't doubt my boy, man. That's my guy right there.
Yeah, like being a Eagles fan growing up, I never really liked Romo, but I appreciated that. He came from undrafted Bill Parcells guy, and basically worked his way up from bench to starting quarterback, and he was a damn good quarterback there for 5-6 years. He was one of the leaders of passing yards every single year, it seemed like, with T.O. and Dez and all those guys.
It's just that Dallas curse, man. They can't win in the big game, because Dak literally shows me same things Romo showed me at times, but just that big lights, man. They say everything big in Dallas, but I don't know, man. It's that pressure. He fold under it, but that's my guy, 100%.
Yeah, I get into that. You said Michael Vick was one of your favorites too of all time.
Oh yeah, man. Mike Vick, man.
He was exciting,
especially as a kid, man. I never even wanted to play quarterback. I always wanted to play receiver. I just was too slow, so I was like, I want to be a tight end then. But playing Madden, if you played Madden, you had to play with Mike Vick. It was just
absolutely
automatic.
Throwing it up to Peerless Price.
And look, Warren Dunn. That was my guy too. So. Yep. Having both of them on the same team, that was a cheat code. So, Mike Vick, man, was definitely, especially like I said, growing up and watching the game. Because at some point, you watching football, but you're not watching it. Once you get older and you understanding who are your favorite players, the plays that they calling. As a kid, you just watching the game. You just like the stars, but. Mike Vick took it to another level. Mike Vick is the Allen Iverson of the NFL. So
absolutely, yep.
As a kid, everybody wanted the cornrows and the headband. So with Mike Vick, it was the same way, man. So Mike Vick was definitely was one of those pioneers, man, in my neighborhood.
Did you like McNabb at all, or didn't like him because he was?
I actually like McNabb. I mean, the team, like I've grown to now. I'm just a football fan, like.
Yeah,
back in the day, you got your team, you don't care, you kind of biased, but now that I'm older, I kind of give more homage to guys that played. And looking back on it, I always like McNabb, except for when he went to them NFC championships and was beating Dallas. You know what I'm saying? So
right.
I was kind of glad T.O. left him. I just say that because T.O. was my guy. So but I love McNabb though. He was solid.
I remember that whole drama. I was watching it like minute by minute when T.O. did that like workout in the driveway. When he traded him
I remember I was laying on my bed watching it on ESPN. I remember that.
He's doing sit-ups in the driveway with reporters, and
man.
He didn't want to go to Baltimore because he originally got traded to Baltimore and he did not want to go, man. Then he worked his way to Philadelphia somehow, got with McNabb, and the rest is history, they say.
Oh yeah, and don't forget, man, he went to Cincinnati and made the Pro Bowl too, man. T.O. was one of them.
So Cincinnati, he went to Buffalo for a year.
Cooking in Buffalo, so
no T.O. Man, he was awesome, man. I was so excited when he came to the Eagles.
I'm sure
it's just their egos clashed, man. It just didn't work out there. But T.O. was a damn hell of a receiver. Definitely gotten the Hall of Fame way too late. He should have been in way before that.
Oh yeah.
So that was bullshit. Just because I get it. Like he was a dick at times, but. you got to give the guys respect. Like
exactly on the field, we not talking about what he's doing off the field, and
yeah,
he never hurt nobody. It's not like he got locked up or did something crazy. You know what I'm saying? This is because
it was just an ego. Yeah,
that's it. You know, but sometimes the voters don't see that. So,
and I'm afraid they're gonna do the same shit to Antonio Brown too.
Oh yeah, 100% they are. Yeah. They might make him wait even longer than they make T.O. wait, but
which is bullshit.
But it is. We talking on the field. AB is no question what he can.
He might be. I argue he's at least in the conversation to be the best wide receiver I've ever seen play with my own eyes.
Yeah, for sure.
In the modern times, for sure.
For sure. I just wish he could have really played in Oakland though. I think he would have, or Vegas, wherever they was.
Yeah. Yeah, he could have been interesting. I mean, man, it was Roethlisberger, Brown, and Bell, man.
Oh,
those guys.
Hey, man,
that was a hell of a team that I was shocked they couldn't pull one out there.
Yeah, it's tough sled, man. But we don't need Pittsburgh with no more championships anyway, man. So,
I agree.
Let's get that over with, man.
I can agree with you on that, man.
So
but
I'm glad I'm here on the quarterbacks show, but when you touch the receivers, man, that's my favorite position. So I got to be on the receiver one, man. That's my favorite.
Yeah. So next month we'll start running back month here. Obviously, this is pretty close to the last day of the month here, but next month we're going to do running back. So Mike will be back on next week. We're going to do running back rankings and all that. But yeah, at the end of March, I'll have you back on. We'll do some running backs and talk about that. And then the end of April there, right before the draft there, we'll talk some wide receivers, tight ends, talk the draft and all that. So it's going to be good. I'm looking forward to it. So appreciate you having you on here, man. It's good to have you again.
Oh yeah. Glad I could be here, brother.
Yeah. Go ahead. Tell everybody where they can follow you.
Well, I run the South Harmon I said South Harmon podcast, South Harmon socials over on Twitter, man. So South Harmon FF. Yep. I try to post everything anytime the guys have something new or old or just need to show what they have going on. I try to send all that out, and I try to engage with whoever's coming on. But if you most of the socials are really on Twitter. We still have a YouTube and the TikTok. I'm not really on those, but
I'm not either.
I don't know about no TikTok, but check us out on the Twitter. I'm on there. I got my own Twitter at Fizzle Dollars, DOLLAS. You can look me up on YouTube. I make the intro songs. I make my music, and real soon, man, I got my own South Harmon's fantasy podcast dropping, man. The marathon. We're working on that marathon. We gonna build slow. I wanna. What I really want to do is bring what I don't see a lot of. I feel like here in South Harmon, we have a lot of guys that are advanced in the game. So I want to reach back to the people that really either never played or played 1 year and quit because they just didn't understand it. So I want to talk to you guys and bring you back to the game or introduce you to the game. And just remember, man, fantasy is fun first. If you're not having fun, ain't no point in playing it. So it's okay to reach for your favorite player at some point. You don't have to draft off of a ranking sheet all the time. So that's really what I want to bring to the game, is just remind people to have fun, because if you playing in a league where you're not having fun, you're going to quit. And then now they're either not going to want you back or you ain't going to want to play no more. So
right.
I told everybody take CeeDee Lamb over Jamar Chase last year. I wasn't going to do it no other way, and it worked out for me. So, have fun, man. Take your guys. It's okay to
absolutely.
It's okay to figure it out. I don't want everybody to think we got to go off of what somebody else say. So that's what I'm bringing with this marathon. I'm gonna build it slow, and we're gonna get to that victory lap by the time the season starts. So that's what I got going on, man.
All right. Yeah, we'll be looking forward to that. It'll be on the South Harmon feed. So yeah, definitely looking forward to that. You can, you can follow me at Eric Vanek NFL on Twitter. Follow the show at America's Game Pod as well. And we will see you guys next week for running back month. We'll start off. So appreciate you guys. Appreciate you, Fizzle, for joining us. Appreciate you for the intro song as well, man. You killed it. Everyone always talks about that's a fire song. Absolutely is every time, man. So love it.
Had to start it off right, bro.
Hell yeah. So, all right. We'll see you guys next week. Take care.